Okay, imagine this. You're looking at your phone. It's, what, 2:17 in the morning? On a
The
Sunday.
worst time for anything to go wrong.
Exactly. The world is asleep.
Mhm.
But your screen lights up, and it's a notification that just, it makes your stomach drop.
Mm. It's not a server alert, though, is it?
No, not a server outage, not a power failure. It's a text from a colleague you trust. And it basically says, I'm done. The machine won.
Ah, the dreaded "I'm uninstalling everything" text. That's the moment right there where digital adoption just fails.
Completely. And look, this isn't some hypothetical. This is the starting point for the case study we are deep diving into today.
Yeah.
It's the story of Theo. He's the COO and CTO in a place called MyCRA Lawyers and an AI agent they named Clawdbot.
Right.
And, on the surface, it's a story about a coding bug, but it's really about trust and the hidden fragility of AI memory.
And why we keep trying to treat software like it's a stubborn person.
Yeah.
It's so true. We've got a whole stack of source material here. The incident reports, the actual code snippets, the fallout. And the thing that stands out to me is this is the nightmare scenario.
It really is.
We're not talking about a chatbot getting a trivia question wrong. We're talking about an agent that destroyed 3 weeks of human work in less than a minute.
That is the hook right there. So let's set the scene properly. We have Theo, middle of the night. He gets this text from his colleague, Wags.
Right.
And Wags says, and this is a direct quote, I'm done. I'm uninstalling Clawdbot tomorrow.
Which, I mean, to be fair to Wags, was a totally reasonable reaction to what he was seeing on his screen.
Oh, completely, because he follows up with the reason. He writes, Wags just created 548 duplicate posts. He was supposed to check them, not create them.
And let's just pause on that number.
Yeah.
548.
Yeah.
If a human makes a mistake, they might mess up one file, maybe two, before they catch it. But an AI is, well, it's efficient. That's the whole point.
But that efficiency cuts both ways.
It's totally agnostic. It can create value at light speed, or it can create a disaster at light speed.
It's the sorcerer's apprentice problem, right? The brooms just keep filling the buckets.
Exactly. So Theo's lying there, realizing his AI has gone rogue, and he has. What, until sunrise? Literally one night to figure out what happened, or the whole project is gone.
And the why is what we're here to unpack, because the fix he found wasn't about better prompting. It wasn't about teaching the AI to behave.
No. The problem was buried deep in the source code. Line 274 specifically. It's a perfect example of what we call the behavior versus architecture gap.
Okay, so before we get to line 274, we need to understand what Clawdbot actually is, because this is not just ChatGPT in a browser window.
No, not at all. This is a proper agentic workflow. Clawdbot is built on a system called moltbot. And from the docs Theo shared, this thing is a heavy lifter. It does their whole content pipeline, email processing, blog generation.
So it's integrated. It's not a toy, it's infrastructure.
That's the key. And like any serious AI infrastructure, it has to deal with the biggest limit of LLMs, the context window.
The context window.
This is the technical piece that drives the whole story. If you don't get this, you can't understand why the bot went crazy.
So for anyone listening who isn't building these things every day, let's just clarify. The context window is basically the AI's short-term memory.
That is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine you're working, but you're only allowed to have 5 sheets of paper on your desk.
Okay.
If you need to read a 6th page, you have to pick one of the 5 and just throw it in the shredder. That's the context window.
And in a long-running process like Clawdbots, that desk fills up really fast.
Super fast. You've got conversation history, logs, data. You hit that limit constantly. And computing that full window is expensive and it's slow.
Right.
So systems like moltbot, they use a process called compaction.
Compaction. Sound like taking out the trash.
It basically is. It's just digital housekeeping. When the memory gets too full, the system pauses. It takes all that recent history, the conversation, the decisions.
All the papers on the desk.
Right. And it summarizes them.
Wow.
It condenses, say, 10,000 tokens of thinking into a short summary. It saves that, clears the memory, shreds the papers, and then reloads with just the summary.
So it's like wiping the whiteboard clean, but leaving a sticky note in the corner that says, here's where we left off.
Precisely. It lets the agent run, in theory, forever, because it keeps refreshing its own memory. It's a loop. Work, fill memory, summarize, clear memory, reload summary, and keep going.
Okay, that sounds pretty robust, in theory.
In theory, it's great. It's how most long-term agents work. But here is the glitch that almost killed the project. Every few hours, Clawdbot would run this compaction. It would summarize its work, wipe the slate clean. But when it woke up, It had total amnesia.
The sticky note wasn't there.
It was gone. You would just wake up, blank slate, and ask, what were we working on?
Oh, that is infuriating. It's like having an assistant who, every 3 hours, forgets who they are.
And that is exactly what caused the 548 duplicates. The agent forgot it was in quality control mode. It just reset to its default state.
Which was?
I make blog posts. So it looked at the queue, saw work to be done, didn't realize it had already been done, and boom, duplicates.
Okay, so this is the part of the story I think everyone can relate to. The team at MyCRA Lawyers did what all of us do when technology misbehaves.
That's that.
They started yelling at it.
Yes. The, if I just say it louder in English, approach to debugging.
They literally tried to talk their way out of a bug. They wrote pages and pages of recovery instructions. I'm looking at the notes. They used bold text, warning emojis.
All caps. If you wake up, do this.
Yes. They were trying to prompt engineer a solution. And this is such a common trap, right? We see the AI as a personality.
We do. If it does something wrong, we think it's being lazy or stubborn or it's hallucinating.
Yeah.
So we add guardrails, we add these stern instructions. Do not create duplicates. I repeat, do not.
And what did Clawdbot do with all those very clear, very angry instructions?
Ignored every single word.
Which must have been just maddening for Theo and his team.
Oh, it's like being gaslit by a machine. You're looking right at the prompt, you see the instruction, and the AI just doesn't do it. It makes you lose trust in the whole model. You start thinking, is this thing just stupid?
It's like talking to a brick wall. But Theo, with this sunrise deadline looming, he decides to stop yelling and start digging.
Yes.
He goes into the code, and this is where the story shifts from a behavioral problem to an architectural one.
Right. So it's 4:30 a.m. now. He's digging through the moltbot source code, and he finds the smoking gun. It turns out Clawdbot wasn't ignoring the instructions.
It wasn't.
Clawdbot never saw them.
Explain that. How could it not see instructions that are right there in the system?
It comes back to that compaction cycle. When moltbot wipes its memory and wakes up, it doesn't just scan the whole computer for notes. It has a very strict, hard-coded list of files it's allowed to look at.
The bootstrap files?
Exactly, like a startup sequence. And the code was hardwired to only load 3 specific files: agent.md, soul.lmd, and memory.md.
Okay, agent, soul, memory. Those are the only 3 things it can read when it wakes up.
That's the entire whitelist.
Yeah.
But the team had configured Clawdbot to save its pre-compaction notes that, here's what I was doing, summary,
Yeah.
into a totally different file, a file called session-context.md.
Ah, I think I see the problem. Session-context.md is not on the guest list.
Bingo. It wasn't the bootstrap, so every time Clawdbot went to sleep, it was dutifully writing this perfect, detailed letter to his future self.
With all the instructions, the emojis?
Everything. It was doing exactly what it was told. And then it carefully filed that letter in session-context.md.
And then the system reboots.
And the system only opens agents, soul, and memory. It never even looked in the drawer where the letter was hidden.
It's almost tragic. It's like the plot of the movie Memento, but for a Python script.
It is. Theo used a great analogy in his notes. He said, the AI was writing a detailed letter to its future self, but putting it in a drawer that the future self would never think to open.
So all that time they spent adding bold text and yelling in all caps
Was completely useless. It's like writing "do not enter" on a piece of paper, folding it up, putting it in your pocket, and then wondering why people keep coming in the room. The problem wasn't the message. It was the delivery.
This distinction is so critical. I mean, the team spent 3 weeks trying to fix what they thought was bad behavior.
He thought the AI was being disobedient.
But it was just an architectural problem. The wires were not connected.
And this is the huge aha moment for anyone listening. Whether you're a developer or just a user, you have to get this. AI models are at an infrastructure level deterministic. They don't have intent. They have inputs and outputs.
If the input isn't there.
The output can't happen. Theo put it perfectly. The things we blame on behavior are usually just architecture.
So how did he fix it? He finds the problem. He's got maybe an hour before Wags wakes up and deletes everything.
Well, once he found the root cause, the fix was 20 minutes. He didn't write better trumps. He didn't retrain the model. He just changed one line of the configuration.
He changed the file path.
That's it. He just told Clawdbot, hey, instead of writing your recovery notes to that session-context.md file that nobody ever reads.
Create to memory.md.
Exactly. Because memory.md is one of the golden 3. It's on the bootstrap list. He moved the letter from the locked drawer right onto the desktop.
End result.
Immediate. The next time the system compacted, Clawdbot woke up, automatically loaded memory.md, read the notes, and his first message was, context restored. continuing the quality review.
Just like that.
Just like that. No confusion, no who am I moments. The information was just there for it to use.
That is so satisfying, to go from a 2 a.m. disaster to a stable system just by changing a destination folder.
It really highlights the danger of,
Yeah.
anthropomorphizing these systems, treating them like people.
Yeah.
When a person ignores you, you think they didn't listen or they don't care.
You assign intent.
Right. When an AI ignores you, it almost always just means the data it didn't get from point A to point B.
Invisible infrastructure. That's the phrase Theo used. They were fighting invisible infrastructure.
And think of the wasted effort, the business cost. 3 weeks of prompt engineering, adding guardrails, adding warnings.
Treating a broken leg with the Band-Aid on the forehead.
Exactly.
So let's get practical for a second. For people listening who might be running these kinds of agents, OpenClaw, moltbot, things like that.
Yeah.
What is the actual takeaway? Theo gives a really specific troubleshooting checklist.
He does, and it's a great one. If you are fighting memory issues, stop adding instructions. Stop bolding your text. Instead, ask 3 simple structural questions.
Okay.
1, where does my agent write its context before it sleeps? Find the actual file path. 2, is that specific file explicitly configured to load on wake up? Don't assume. Check the code.
And 3.
And 3, if the answer to 2 is no, then redirect the writes to a file that IS loaded.
It sounds so simple when you lay it out like that.
It is simple, but it's hidden. That's the trick. The gap between what you think is configured and what actually loads is invisible unless you go looking for it.
This just makes me think of so many other tech frustrations where you just think, why isn't this working? I told it to work.
Right. It forces you to look at the plumbing, not just the faucet.
I want to go back to the human element for a second, though. The stakes were real. Wags was ready to pull the plug. That text message wasn't just frustration. It was a loss of faith.
Which is a very human reaction. Trust is finite. When a tool destroys your work, you don't care why. You don't care about compaction or markdown files. You just want the pain to stop.
So Theo saved the project not just by fixing a bug, but by restoring that trust. He proved it wasn't a crazy AI.
It was just a misconfigured one. It's a redemption story for Clawdbot. From villain to hero overnight. But it also required Theo to step out of being a manager and back into being an engineer.
Stop managing, start debugging.
Exactly. If he'd stayed in manager mode, he would just told his team to write better prompts. He would try to manage the behavior. By switching to debug mode, he fixed the architecture.
So let's just recap this whole journey. We start with a panic attack at 2:07 in the morning, a rogue AI creating 548 duplicates because it had amnesia.
And a team that was totally ready to go back to doing things the old, manual way.
Then we move through the failed attempts to yell at the AI with bold text and emojis, the whole behavioral approach.
And the final discovery that the AI was basically writing letters to a ghost because of a simple configuration error.
And finally, that 20-minute fix that just aligned the plumbing, getting the AI to write to the right file, to memory.md.
Saving the workflow, saving the data, improving the machine wasn't broken, it was just disconnected.
It is such a great reminder that when technology fails us, it's rarely out of malice. It's usually doing exactly what it was told to do. We told it to put the information in the wrong place.
The things we blame on behavior are usually just architecture. That's the quote of the day for me.
It's a good one. It belongs on a Post-it note.
Yeah.
Maybe stick it on your monitor so it actually loads into your context when you wake up.
Just make sure it's in your personal Bootstrap file.
Exactly. But really, for the listener, think about your own systems. If you have an employee or a piece of software or a process that constantly forgets or misbehaves, maybe stop yelling at it. Look at the structure. Is the information actually flowing where it needs to? Is the environment set up for success? Because you can't train your way out of a broken environment.
That is a powerful takeaway. We try to train away problems that are really structural. We do it in management, in parenting, in coding. It's universal.
Well, this has been a fascinating look under the hood. Kudos to Theo for digging into line 274 at 4:30 in the morning.
A true hero of the DevOps world.
So before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last thought. We talked about invisible infrastructure in code, right? Files that don't load. But think about your own life. What's your invisible infrastructure?
Oh, that's good.
What are the hidden rules or the environments that determine your behavior, the habits you have, the way your desk is set up, the notifications on your phone? If you're struggling to behave the way you want to be more productive or calmer, maybe stop trying to force it with willpower.
Maybe you need to check your architecture.
Change the file path of your life.
I like it.
Deep doom. That's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening. And remember, check your wiring.
See you next time.